Hello and welcome to GD Politics live at the Comedy Cellar. I am Galen Druk alongside my dear friends Clare Malone and Nate Silver. Give them a round of applause. And you, my friends, are a sold-out crowd in the West Village, at the Village Underground, at the Comedy Cellar in New York City, so give yourselves a round of applause. How are you guys doing tonight? Good? Well, that might change after you hear this. So, shortly before the show tonight, we received a note from our former boss, Bob Iger. As you may know, 538 used to be owned by Disney, and he let us know that this show has been preempted indefinitely. We are instead going to be doing a live tribute to the former 538 mascot, Fivey Fox.
Wait, what happened?
He was sadly caught up in Mayor Eric Adams' war on rats. New York, you can take away Eric Adams' dignity. You can take away his shot at a second term of his mayoralty, but you cannot take away his status of the New York City King of Rats. He's going to do a great job representing American interests in Saudi Arabia, by the way. Like I said, we won't be covering the news this evening. You'll hear nothing about the impending shutdown. You'll hear nothing about James Comey's indictment. You'll hear nothing about challenges to an independent Fed or tariffs or vaccines or anything of the like. Instead, we have a WWE-inspired tribute to Fivey Fox. Kelsey, could you roll on the pyrotechnics, please? Actually, sorry, wait, hold on 1 second. Hello? It's Bob. Uh-huh. Well, 1 second. Is there any way we could get the rights to Fivey back? The furry community is absolutely losing
Nate's
its
the one
shit.
with the lawyers.
Okay. Got it. Okay, I'll let them. Okay. It's a business decision. We're back on.
Amazing.
I was told you would all leave, so we have to return to regularly scheduled programming. Honestly, I was looking forward to Claire's Fivey Fox-inspired rendition of Danny Boy.
Galen, that's green face.
Am I allowed to make fun of make
think-
Irish ethnic jokes? At the last live show I made fun of, I was like, I'm a Jew, I can make fun of Harry. I'm also Irish, I think I can make fun of...
I know, that's true. Yeah.
You know? Oh, Fivey boy, the polls are calling.
It's beautiful.
Let's get to it. We have been given the go-ahead, and so let me tell you what's on tap for this evening. As I gestured to, there's a lot of news going on right now, so much, in fact, that we couldn't actually narrow it down to what we actually wanted to talk about, so we're going to leave it to chance. We're introducing a brand new segment this evening called Hot Take Hat. So I have filled this hat with topics, and we are going to pull one out of, you can see it's my lucky Green Bay Packers hat. And Claire will help me. I think you can probably help me too. What's your name? Aaron. Okay, so you'll help me as well. And we'll put the show together by chance. We are also going to talk about the most pressing story of the evening, I would say, which is that, well, when folks are listening to this in the future, they already may know whether or not the government has been shut down. But as of right now, we are 30 hours away from a government shutdown. Obviously, some members of the Democratic Party were upset that congressional Democrats didn't shut it down last time. So will they shut it down this time, and should they? We'll debate here on stage. And then, finally, it is not lost on us that we are in something of a sacred place for comedians at a time when the government is questioning First Amendment principles. So how else would we mark this grave threat to the Republic than, you guessed it, by playing a game? So I am going to quote political satire, and Nate and Claire and you in the audience, my friends, are going to guess which comedian said it. Okay, so stick around, and then we will have questions from the audience at the very end, assuming we have time. So with all that said, the ground rules established, Aaron, do you want to help me? Okay, here you go.
Wait, Galen, are we supposed to like have takes on this? What's
Yes.
okay? Nate, you're going first. This is just to preface. I feel like I'm like not good at takes.
Is this
You're-
like
and you're a
85
take- you're a take
NBA
machine.
draft lottery
I
situation where
know.
one flap was frozen, right? And you're trying to...
They're acting surprised, but we all came up with this game together.
Okay.
I know, but it feels different when once you're under the hot stage
Don't break
lights.
the fourth wall yet, Galen. We have an hour and a half.
Okay, here's the first one. You're not gonna like this, Claire.
Okay.
Well, yeah, maybe you'll like it. Okay, mid-decade gerrymandering.
The ghost of 5e Fox is picking these topics, I think.
For or against?
Against.
Against.
But it's like not like even that unprecedented. I mean, Texas did it in like under Tom DeLay in like 2022, 2024. Like other things that have happened so far, this is, I think, one of the more predictable things.
But
that,
on the
like,
scale, right? Like the sort of retaliatory redistricting, right? I think you have to take it in like the context in which it exists this time around.
So on the scale of like how actually much does it like atrophy democracy?
Yeah. I think that's what people are.
It's high, like an 8, right? On the scale of how Trumpian it is, it's like a 2 because like the GOP has been doing this kind of thing for a long period of time, right? So it's like not like a new or unique threat, right? But like it's kind of like the inevitable equilibrium that emerges when the Supreme Court says you can do partisan gerrymandering, right?
Yeah.
You can do mid-decade redistricting, and like solve for the equilibrium and like and
so let's do a metaphor. Let's say the country has cancer of the democracy. Where does mid-decade redistricting fall in the scope of treatment? Is it like...
I think it's testicles.
No, but I mean... don't muddy my bodily metaphor. Like, is it
No,
part...
because, like,
is it
how are you
part of the...
gonna fuck?
Is it part of the metastasization? Is it, like, part of the chemo that makes you lose your hair? Sorry, this is a dark metaphor.
Wait, Claire.
But it's what immediately sprung to mind. But, like, where is it in the scale of, like, bad?
It's the underlying risk factor, right? It's smoking cigarettes for 50 years and you get lung cancer. You know what I mean? It's like not. It's more like this has been happening for a long time, and this is, you know, look, we know what the rules are. You can district to your heart's content as long as you're not violating the Voting Rights Act, which might be on its last legs anyway, right? And the fact that like Democrats in New York, for example, have been taking half measures constantly, like we're going to redistrict in a little bit of a partisan way, but not get too partisan. Like this is like I think one of the problems
not
where
exactly what happened, right? I mean, after the 2010,
Galen did a podcast on redistricting in like 2019. You should all listen to it. It feels relevant.
I did in fact. It feels like I'll never shut up about gerrymandering as a result. But I mean, what happened was in the 2010s, Democrats got really burned by Republicans gerrymandering because they did so poorly in the 2010 midterms. And as a result, Republicans controlled a lot of state houses around the country. And Democrats, along with good government groups, said, wherever we can, let's try to change the rules so that there will be nonpartisan or bipartisan redistricting going forward. Now, you may guess at what happened. They were most successful in blue states. So we're now in a situation where they have sort of, I don't know, cut their legs off in places like New York, California, Colorado, Virginia, and so are sort of hamstrung in terms of how they can respond to Republican gerrymandering. And look, in those places like New York, Maryland, Virginia, Colorado, and the likes, they're trying to undo that. California, obviously, voters are going to make their decision this fall whether or not they can gerrymander for the rest of the decade. But it's not going to be this cycle. It's going to be the next cycle. And so once they change the rules, because in a lot of places to amend the Constitution, it has to pass 2 different legislative bodies or sort of 2 consecutive years, and then they can change the rules. And so what we're leading towards is just like an all-out redistricting war, the likes of which we maybe haven't seen before because there used to be a little constraint to save the incumbents. There was some good government arguments here and there. And now it's like, I think Democrats feel if we're actually going to resolve this issue, we just got to gerrymander to the max, and then maybe federally we can change the rules, but enough of this state-by-state stuff.
So where do you fall? For or against?
For or against mid-decade gerrymandering?
Yes.
I mean, I'm against gerrymandering, period. I made the
A bold stance.
No,
I mean, it used to that would have been a joke, but now it does feel like
if you're going to have gerrymandering, it's actually better to do it every 2 years and not every 10 years, right? Because every 10 years introduces an element of arbitrariness. Who happened to do well in this one decadal election, right? So like the doing it every 2 years part, I don't think is an erosion of anything much except like an obvious like way that the game is going based on how the game's been played so far. But you're right. The issue is gerrymandering in general. I think it's like harder than people would assume in the Constitution to create good alternative standards, right? And when trust erodes and when trust in institutions erodes, there's not much way around it. But all right, Galen, you're getting bored. You're already fluffing the cap.
Aaron Rodgers is getting excited over here. Okay. I made a sports joke. I think that's the first time ever.
Was it properly executed?
Was that a Jets hat?
No,
it's for Pittsburgh now. Okay.
It's a Green Bay Packers hat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Speaking of Aaron's, Aaron, can you help me again? You can read it.
New York City mayoral race.
Ooh. Okay. Right. Yeah. Here we go.
I am for New York City mayoral elections. That's right.
Okay, I prepared a little something. Okay, yes, here we have it. According to the polling averages at Decision Desk HQ, currently, Zoran Mamdani has 45% support in New York City. Andrew Cuomo has 27%. Curtis Sliwa, 12%. And Eric Adams, who, yes, dropped out of the race yesterday, has 8%. Do you want to guess at where the betting markets currently place, or as of 1 p.m. this afternoon, placed Mamdani's chances of winning?
I already wrote an article and did a podcast segment about this game. I don't have to guess. I know.
Oh, you know? Okay, well,
should
Clare,
I guess? I don't know.
Lucky day.
Like 85% odds.
Like 85%? It is
Wait,
literally
really?
85%. Right here, Claire. Come on. She likes to pretend that like he's the data nerd and like she can like bust his balls and tell jokes, but she's good at the data too.
I didn't read your thing. Can you?
Yes, wait. Sorry, actually,
could you summarize?
As long as you subscribe.
I do subscribe. But
I do.
I don't think I read. I don't know.
This will interrupt.
It's part of a long.
If you have a corporate account, please subscribe to both their Substacks.
Even if you don't have a corporate account.
Yeah.
So, is it game over? Like, are we, now that Eric Adams is out of the race, should we cover this like it's a real race?
No.
I think Cuomo would need multiple things to go right, and one of the things he needed to go right was Eric Adams dropping out. But like, Adams only had 8 or 9% of the vote. He'll probably go 6-3 to Zoran over Sliwa, right? But like, it's, so that reduces the lead from 20 points to 15 points, and you can get into some math about like what happens with a 15-point lead. We have 5.5 weeks to go, roughly, and we have, it's a multi-candidate race, and mayoral polling is often quite bad. Zoran beat his polls by a lot, by the way, in June. So I think 15% is a little high. It might be 10%, and people neglect 10% chances.
Sell those odds. Or buy
I wouldn't
them.
Aggressively. No, I mean, I think people are the type of people who trade at Polymarket, which, full disclosure, I am a consultant for.
By the way, I looked across Polymarket, Kalshi, and Predictit, and they all said about the same. I didn't want to, I don't want the appearance of influence from his corporate overlords,
No, there's like this fantasy that if we got the right candidate, then we could beat Zoran, which I guess I suppose sort of agree with. He's not at 50%. He's been very impressive relative to any reasonable expectation, but like, he can be polarizing. New York is not that progressive. He's 45%, right? But the alternative is Andrew Cuomo or a guy wearing a red beanie, and like, it's probably not going to.
Wait.
I do not wear hats. I'm not.
Can we? Because this is a New York audience. I don't know. If we want to like show our ass here and like what the audience's preferences actually are. So can we get?
Yeah, show your ass.
Yeah. Okay. By round of applause, can we get a round of applause for Zoran Mamdani? Okay.
Their asses have roses tattooed all over them.
Can we get a round of applause for Andrew Cuomo?
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Can we get a round of applause for Curtis Sliwa? And the crowd goes wild!
No, but that indicates something, right? Like, we're not the most left-wing crew, right? I guess our people are young here, which I appreciate. But, like, people who are on... I mean, Cuomo has just been a very uncompelling, unconvincing candidate, right? I'm not going to say who I'm going to vote for, but, like, as somebody who, like, might be ideologically more aligned with the center-left branch of the Democrats, like, I have found it hard to find reasons to to want to vote for Cuomo, who seems not that interested in New York City, who seems not that interested in running any type of positive message, right? But I don't know. I mean, if it had been the case that in the primary the polls overestimated Zoran, then you might say, okay, maybe there are shy Cuomo voters. Probably more people here. It's New York, right? Comedy Cellar. People might not
what would Andrew Cuomo's team be saying right now?
Andrew Cuomo?
That his supporters are not in Greenwich Village in New York City at a comedy show at 6 o'clock on a Monday.
That's what they'd say,
They're
right?
taking care of their families. They're in the outer boroughs.
Which is true.
No, I remember like going to
in
the Cynthia Nixon race, right? I remember going to like Flushing, Chinatown, and like everywhere you look, there's like Cuomo literature and Cuomo banners, right? No sign of Nixon, right? The issue is the turnout will probably be fairly high, and so like in the primary, Cuomo basically got the number of votes that you would expect, but Zoran expanded the electorate, which is a low bar because people usually don't turn out for any. People are interested in national politics, people are transplants, whatever else, right?
But it's a nationalized race, too. I mean, it's a nationalized race.
It's a nationalized race. And like the fact that you're trying to call the Super Avengers together and like team up against Zoran kind of like plays into his message a little bit, right? So look, I think when you do election forecasting, you learn that you have to like not just trust the narrative, and you have to say, okay, crazy things happen in politics. The polls aren't that good in mayoral races. There's still 5.5 weeks to go. If Sliwa drops out, then it does get quite close, right? Which is why I might say 10% and not 2% or 5%. But like the path is not obvious barring some October surprise.
So I often say like on the podcast when I like don't have anything to say when we're wrapping up a segment, be like, oh, okay, we'll like talk about it at some future date. And then like oftentimes we never get back to it. So this is actually an instance where we are going to talk about this at a future date, and we're actually going to do it literally right here, the day before Election Day. You heard that right. We're doing another live show on November 3rd at the Comedy Cellar in New York City.
This is our Vegas residency.
It's a little bit of an Oprah inflection there, Galen. I like it. You're becoming a performer.
You get a live show. You get a live show. You get a live show. No, only New York gets live shows. We keep hearing from like Washington, D.C., which, like, legit. But then, like, Pittsburgh, and it's like, Pittsburgh, we're not, come on, Pittsburgh. Okay.
Oh my gosh, Pittsburgh, beautiful city.
I did Pittsburgh.
Love Pittsburgh. I mean, if you guys are down to take a road trip.
I would go
100%.
to Pittsburgh.
Okay,
Before DC.
never mind. We're coming to Pittsburgh. You heard it here first. Okay, Aaron, get in here. I'm a little bit worried because some of these are not funny at all. Vaccines. Okay.
Pro.
All right, Claire, you go. Pro. Hate them. Actually, but Tylenol. Love Tylenol. Okay, Claire, I'm going to throw this one to you. Do you want me to